Alright, so I've played so many games that I've lost count, and honestly, some of the coolest experiences didn't come from those giant AAA monsters with endless trailers. It's the AA games sneaking under the radar that actually bring the heat, with killer gameplay and stories that stick with you. Today, I'm spilling the tea on 15 AA games that are way better than most big-budget blockbusters. So, let's get into it. Let's kick things off with Sifu, a game that doesn't care about your feelings. If you get punched in the face, you age, you fall down a flight of stairs because you mistimed a parry, that's another wrinkle on your forehead. It's like a martial arts simulator directed by your strict gym teacher who thinks pain is a love language. The game's combat is tighter than your jeans after Thanksgiving, and pulling off perfect combos makes you feel like Jackie Chan doing ballet with a chainsaw. And just when you think you're the master, a random henchman with a mop disrespects your entire bloodline. It's brutal, it's stylish, and it's harder than trying to explain NFTs to your grandma. Playing Hellblade is like getting invited to a Viking Rave hosted inside your brain. You walk through eerie landscapes guided by whispering voices that sound like your anxiety and your mom fused into a surround sound experience. Every step Senua takes feels like a panic attack wrapped in mythological trauma. The game doesn't throw jump scares, it just slowly gnaws at your soul like a raccoon with a grudge. And don't get me started on the puzzles. They're like IKEA instructions written in ancient Norse. But somehow it all works. Hellblade is beautiful, terrifying, and made me question if I left the oven on more than once.
End it! No! Nearly the end!
Imagine playing tag, except instead of kids, you're running from a biblical tsunami of rats with anger issues. That's Plague Tale. You've got a slingshot, your little brother, and more stress than someone trying to find parking at Comic-Con. The dialogue is heartfelt, the visuals are stunning, and the rats? They're like furry land piranhas with a vendetta. Requiem somehow turns everything up to 11, with even more emotional gut punches and a rat population that could qualify as its own country. There's stealth, heartbreak, and more rodent trauma than a pest control hotline. Honestly, I didn't think I'd cry over slingshot physics, and yet, here we are.
These twigs burn too quickly! I won't be able to keep them back long enough!
Wait, I have something for you!
Atomic Heart is like if BioShock and a Fever Dream had a dance-off in a Soviet theme park, and then someone spiked the punch. It's weird, like, what even is this talking fridge doing? Kinda weird. The world is packed with freaky robots, propaganda posters, and dialogue that ranges from genius to, did a toaster write this? But you know what? I loved every second. The combat is crunchy, the environments are gorgeously disturbing, and the sheer audacity of this game makes it unforgettable. I may not know what was going on half the time, but I was too busy electrocuting robo-dogs and looting babushka bunkers to care. Banishers is a game where you exorcise ghosts while emotionally exercising your guilt. It's like therapy with swords. You play as a ghost-hunting power couple in colonial times, which is already more romantic than 90% of dating apps. Every mission is like ghost detective work sprinkled with heartbreak and the occasional spectral roundhouse kick. The writing is incredible, the decisions are gut-wrenching, and by the end I was crying into my controller like it owed me money. AAA games wish they could make me feel this emotionally compromised while still letting me slap phantoms with magic fists. Control is what happens when you give a janitor superpowers and stick them inside a bureaucratic fever dream. You've got a shape-shifting gun, telekinetic powers, and an office building that rearranges itself more often than your schedule after a family WhatsApp group fight. The plot is bonkers. Something about a refrigerator that kills you if you blink. Honestly, it's all part of the charm. I spent half the game flying, flinging desks at people, and listening to a duck lamp whisper cryptic nonsense. I didn't understand everything, but I felt like a psychic superhero inside a David Lynch IKEA. Atlas Fallen lets you surf on sand like a magical Tony Hawk with anger issues. The combat system is a glorious mash of air juggling, sand explosions, and punching desert monsters into next week. There's a plot in there somewhere, something about corrupted gods and ancient relics, but I was too busy sand gliding around like a caffeinated dune worm. It's flashy, it's fast, and it makes you feel like an action figure that just discovered slow motion. I genuinely don't understand why more people aren't screaming about this game from the rooftops. Possibly because they're still stuck in the tutorial trying to double jump correctly. Evil West is what would happen if Van Helsing and Red Dead Redemption had a baby that only listened to heavy metal and punched vampires in the face for fun. It's unapologetically ridiculous in the best way possible. You play a cowboy with a giant electric fist that turns undead creatures into confetti. The plot? Something bloodsuckers, government conspiracy, dramatic monologues with mustaches. But who cares? I was too busy drop-kicking werewolves and yelling at my TV like a caffeinated goat. It's not subtle, but neither am I. And this game gets me.
What are you protecting?
Ghost Runner 2 is what happens when parkour and caffeine team up to commit war crimes. You play a cyber ninja slicing through bad guys faster than your Wi-Fi cuts out during an online exam. It's a sequel, sure, but it feels like the original took pre-workout, ran up a wall, and kicked itself into a neon-drenched utopia. You ride motorbikes at 200 mph, you deflect bullets like you're in a dodgeball tournament for lunatics, and wall run more than Spider-Man at a trampoline park. One wrong move and you're a fancy corpse. But when you get it right, you feel like sushi with a grudge. Fast, brutal, slick, and somehow even cooler than it sounds.
There's a maintenance tunnel ahead. He's going for the emergency hatch. Aren't they supposed to be shot?
Still Wakes the Deep is the perfect game for people who thought, you know what I need? More Scottish horror on oil rigs. It's a psychological nightmare where everything creaks, leaks, and makes noises that suggest the plumbing is haunted. You don't get guns or swords. No, your weapons are sheer panic and questionable life choices. As things spiral into gooey chaos, the game manages to be both terrifying and weirdly poetic. Every door creak sounds like it's judging you, every shadow wants a hug you do not want to return, and your only goal is survival. And not slipping on wet floors of horror juice. OSHA would have a heart attack in 5 minutes. This game is literally a crab Souls-like. Yes, a crab, wearing garbage as armor, fighting other crabs with attitude problems. It's the underwater Dark Souls we didn't know we needed. You scavenge bottle caps, soda cans, and old forks like a bottom-dwelling MacGyver, and duel marine enemies that look like they were rejected from SpongeBob for being too aggressive. The combat is surprisingly tight, the humor is sharper than a lobster with a lawyer, and the story? Deep. Like emotionally deep, like am I a crab or am I the shell kind of deep. It's ridiculous, but it also slaps harder than a crustacean with a butter knife. It Takes Two is the only game where you fix a broken marriage by turning into a hammer-wielding yarn goblin and fighting a vacuum cleaner with abandonment issues. Every level is a brand new genre, as if the developers were throwing darts at a whiteboard labeled chaos and somehow hit genius every time. 1 minute you're riding frogs, the next you're snowball fighting in a sentient clock tower. It's like playing through a Pixar film directed by a sugar rush toddler. You have to play it co-op, which means by the end, you and your partner will either be laughing hysterically or throwing controllers like ninja stars. Therapy is expensive. This game is cheaper and comes with more bees.
You want to try aiming?
Gris is like if sadness put on a prom dress and started painting masterpieces. You don't fight enemies, you don't shoot anything, you just feel and jump and cry a little, then jump some more. The game is basically an emotional watercolor that whispers it's okay to weep at abstract geometry while giving you the most soothing soundtrack ever composed by sentient rainbows. There's platforming, sure, but it's wrapped in visuals so gorgeous you'll try to marry your screen. And the best part? You never quite know if you're playing a game or just hugging your inner child with pixels. I went in expecting a relaxing indie title. I came out needing tissues and a support pigeon. You control two brothers with one controller. That's right, one hand per sibling. It's like trying to pat your head and rub your belly while emotionally preparing to sob uncontrollably. The game's beautiful, heart-wrenching, and occasionally makes you look like you're playing Twister with your thumbs. It tells a story with 0 words that somehow punches you in the soul like it's trying to win an Oscar. You'll explore a stunning world, solve puzzles, and slowly realize you're in too deep emotionally to make jokes about it. Okay, maybe one joke. This game will hurt your heart and probably your fingers too. Kenna is a spirit guide, which basically means she does Pixar-level therapy for forest ghosts with unresolved trauma. This game is absolutely gorgeous, like someone shoved a Disney movie into your PlayStation and said, "Now suffer emotionally, but with adorable companions." You collect tiny creatures called rot, which are so cute they make Baby Yoda look like a tax form. Then you throw them at corrupted monsters like weaponized plush toys. The combat is fluid, the story is touching, and the graphics are so clean they might have been scrubbed with holy water. It's a game about healing, while smacking evil spirits in the face with a glowing stick. So yeah, AA games are thriving. They may not have a billion-dollar budget or a 15-minute cutscene every time you open a door, but they've got soul, creativity, and in some cases, a literal army of adorable fungus pets. These 15 games prove that you don't need to be AAA to absolutely rock. Now go play them. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.